Joined by Paul F. Villarreal by phone. Wow, what a week. What even 24 hours. We're going to talk about the Shaun Maguire story here. I've got to get LinkedIn Live going as well. Give me a second on that. I want to make sure that that is going as well. So we're not stalling, but we're kind of waiting a little bit, I guess, to get that. I want to make sure everything's synced up before I get right into all of it. This is definitely a business story, and here we go. And we should be ready to go here on LinkedIn. Give me a second. Okay, looks like we're good on that on LinkedIn. Hello, LinkedIn. What's going on as well? Big story. A lot to talk about. I've reached out to Shaun Maguire, Bill Ackman, Joe Lonsdale, Molly O'Shea to see if they wanted to be part of the podcast, part of this conversation. I'm sure Maguire's being deluged with all kinds of media requests, everything like that. And it's not like anyone needs to come on my podcast or show or talk about this, whatever. I am wearing my freedom shirt, though. We are rocking that. Very important. We're standing up for the First Amendment. No doubt about it. We're doing that. I will say this up front. I'm sure I'm going to make some mistakes. This is a very touchy subject, right? I apologize ahead of time. This is live. I was up last night. Everything, all the disclaimers, all my normal disclaimers apply. Not alleged any fact, not casting aspersions, all for entertainment purpose only. These are public figures, parody, etc. All of that. We're for peace, love, freedom, opportunity, equality for everyone. A lot of these issues we've been talking about. Paul and I have both been kind of possibly canceled for almost 20 years. I've been here. I understand what the fire is like, if you will. I disagree with. I have a lot of respect for Shaun Maguire, Bill Ackman, Joe Lonsdale, whatever. They all have their different. I have different opinions on all of them, but I have a lot of respect for a lot of them. But I do have my critiques. And I've been warning Shaun, hey, in my opinion, pull back from the rhetorical ledge for a minute now. And in fact, I had to stop following Shaun. I didn't have to, but I mean, I stopped following Shaun because, and I'm sure I'm going to follow him again. And I like Shaun, and I respect the guts and the strength and the conviction and everything like that. But I mean, I can't follow this stuff day to day, minute to minute, almost second to second. It's almost never ending. And I told myself, I told Paul, like, I don't want to cover this anymore. I don't want to talk about this stuff anymore. I really don't want to. And here we go. I have to talk about this because this is a super big story. Now, before I jump into it, let's set the table because some people haven't been following this. So I have no particular order. I'm going to pull up a story here. I guess we'll start with CNBC on what was done and what was said. We're going to try to really speed run this for me. Now, there's a lot to talk about here. And again, I'm sure I'm going to make mistakes. We're for peace, love, freedom, opportunity, equality, liberty, prosperity, equal rights for everybody. We love everybody. Okay. So Shaun said some stuff. I may find that or not. He's been posting so much, and I've got like his video queued up because I want to be able to have him speak in his own words, right? So I may not find that. So we're going to refer to these media sources. This is CNBC here. Let me show. Okay, yep, there you see it right there. Okay, tech founders headline. Jordan Norvit published Monday, July 7th. Tech founders call on Sequoia Capital to denounce VC Shaun Maguire's Mamdani comments. Okay. Key points. Close to 600 people have signed on an open letter to Sequoia Capital calling on the venture firm to condemn comments made by partner Shaun Maguire. Maguire, an outspoken supporter of President Trump. Okay, yeah, he is. But look, here's the thing. I'm so sick of it. And Paul, you can jump in on this real quick because and then I'll keep going. I'm so sick of the MSM, the mainstream media. Like anytime there's anything that's like, oh, Trump supporter, oh, we're mega supporter. Many of these VCs, and if I remember correctly, because there's different ones, whether it's Andreessen or Chamath or Horowitz, etc. supported Trump only in this last election cycle, not Trump V1, voted for, many of them voted for Biden and only now came over to support Trump. So technically, is that correct? Sure. But let's not act like, he's talking about, Ron DeSantis there or someone like that, or someone's been a lifelong Republican. Let's not speak like that. You know what I mean? Like, we love the tech bros, don't we? We love the tech bros. We love the tech bros. We're glad they're here. And this is part of what I'm trying to say. And I apologize for, I'm going to speak fast because I have a lot of ground to cover here. As I've said, and I have criticized these people that they've been woke right. And if you don't agree with me, we've been through this before. And Reagan talked about this, the single issue voters. Reagan said, if you agree with me 80% of the time, like, we're cool. No one's going to agree with everyone 100% of the time. We're all going to make mistakes. I'm imperfect. I make mistakes every day. I'm going to make mistakes on this podcast. I'm trying my best. Okay. And these are tough issues and no one solved it. And here we are. But what I try to say is they were the woke right, and they wanted to go after Tucker Carlson and Candace O. And I'm not carrying water for anybody, but I'm saying that list got longer and longer and longer. And Tim Dillon, and then Piers Morgan and Matt Walsh, and it was just on, and Sager, and it was just on and on and on and on and on. And eventually, and my position with things. We're the Trump position, the Charlie Kirk position, the Batya Unger position, obviously myself in the position. And like, there's different gradations. Now, someone like Bill Ackman will hit a position and then will give you option B, moderate a little bit. Well, what about this? Has more of a deal maker mentality, in my opinion. I don't want to get swerved here, but man, Paul. So there's just so much about this and what so I'm so sick of them trying to immediately put the Trump supporter label on it, Paul. Whenever there's anything controversial, agree or disagree?
Yeah, I agree with that. I mean, look, I agree that's put there a lot of times just to kind of, say somebody's good or bad in the media's perspective, in my opinion.
Right. And we're going to talk about the big miss on Trump. We'll come back to that because that's actually relevant, right? And now I'm reading from the headline here. You can see it right here, and I may not read everything. Maguire, an outspoken supporter of President Trump, posted on X over the weekend that Democratic mayoral candidate Zohran Mamdani, hope I pronounced that correctly. I'm sorry if I didn't. Quote, I don't want to, you can read the quote here, right? Quote, comes from a culture that lies about everything. That's the quote. That's not me. I'm condemning that. I don't agree with that. I don't like that language. I think that's wrong. And that's part of what I'm saying right here. That's the quote. And then the letters signees are asking Sequoia to denounce Maguire's remarks and apologize to Mamdani. And there's like a lot of people here that have signed on to this. Now, and you can see right here, and the group described as a deliberate inflammatory attack against a Muslim Democratic mayoral candidate in New York City. Now, Maguire later had a video response to that, and we're going to get into that. Now, look. This is part of why I unfollowed Shaun, because it's been this, in my opinion, this nonstop focus on certain issues that didn't seem to me to really have anything to do with venture capital or technology or investing or working out or video games or almost, I mean, like there's a lot of other things to talk about. No, I'm not saying that's it. And look, he's into video games and the dude's got a very, very interesting background, PhD from Caltech, and he's been to 100 plus countries or something. And he's done some intel work. I mean, he's done some really, really cool, interesting things in his life and stuff like that. That's why I followed him in the beginning, and I'm sure I'll follow him again at some point, probably. I mean, I don't know, but it you just can't say that, bro. Now the response is, and we're going to get to that. We're going to get to his comments, stuff like that, and I think most people agree on that. And I think Shaun, in my opinion, walked it back. But the response has been this immediate cancel culture. Fire him from Sequoia. Get him. And I don't know what the letter's asking for, whatever. Let's see. Post out of letters asking Sequoia to condemn Maguire's comments and apologize to Mamdani and Muslim founders. They also want the firm to authorize independent investigation of Maguire's behavior in the past 2 years and post a zero tolerance policy on hate speech and religious bigotry. Look, I have no comment on that. Because I don't want to. I just saw that full thing, and I need time to think of. I'm trying to be as responsible and as precise and as appropriate as possible here. But I'll say this: I'm against cancel culture. Period. End of story. Free speech is free speech. Free speech is speech you don't like. That's what it is. And I think that the cure in the punishment, if you will, is the overall response, which is people are condemning Shaun Maguire. Shaun Maguire is posting videos. Shaun Maguire is clarifying. Shaun Maguire is revising and extending, in my opinion. That's the cure. That's the punishment. Shaun Maguire's reputation has been impacted by this. Agree or disagree, Paul?
Yeah, I think that's probably true. At least they're short term. I mean, people were. I think a lot of people were not happy with what he said. Yeah.
And you can't say that kind of stuff, Shaun Maguire. I'll say it to you again. You can't say that kind of stuff. That's not. You can technically, like literally, under free speech, but it's not right to say, and you're going to have a reaction. And this is not. This just shows, Paul. So many of these tech dudes, they're rich, they're smart, but they are political and media novices. And it's showing. And so many of these people, particularly that came from the left, they've never seen a seriously bad press cycle before. I'm not saying Shaun Maguire, I'm saying a lot of them. And they have no idea what to do. It's almost like, who was it? It was when I forget whether it was Kamala or Biden, like all of a sudden these, or KGB, like all of a sudden they started getting serious questions that, whoa, what's that? What you're at, Nancy Pelosi, wait, you're asking me some tough questions? What? So, and I'm not taking up for the press by any stretch, right? But it's like, look, criticize people's ideas and ideologies and policies, not religion, not cult, not all this other stuff. That's where it's the whole group thing, the whole identity politics, the whole cancel culture. That's what's wrong. That's what I've been fighting against for my whole life, bro. And Paul as well. And Shaun Maguire is going to be fine. Shaun Maguire has tons of money. Shaun Maguire was able to donate $300,000 or whatever it is to President Trump. I don't have $300,000 in the bank, bro. Now, that's fine. All respect to Shaun Maguire. I'm no hater. That's fantastic. That's awesome. Lonsdale, Maguire, Ackman, Trump, Sachs. There's a lot of people that have tons of money, and that's Elon Musk. That's fantastic. I'm all for it. Steve Wynn, whatever. But he's going to be fine. The point is that I'm standing up and speaking out for Shaun Maguire when no one spoke out for me and my little brother Paul when we were punked out. Because I'm telling you, the Valley went. I mean, I didn't have people like, oh, I support you. Oh, I support. The Valley went like this. That's what happened to me, real fast. And Paul too. Paul, agree or disagree?
Yeah, there's no question. We both went through that. You went through it more than I did, but we both did.
Yep. And at that time, I had a lot to lose, and I pretty much lost it all, buddy. And I'm not. Listen, it's fine. It is what it is. I'm not sitting here. I'm just like I didn't have to do this video. It would have been career-wise, politically, everything very wise for me to not say anything. My Twitter thing was on the rise again. I was doing other stuff. I don't want to get into, it would be so smart for me to say nothing. I mean, Shaun's a big boy. Let him deal with it himself. Let him go out there. I could have said nada. That would have been the smart thing for me to do. The quote unquote smart thing for me to do. But I can't stand the sellouts, bro. I can't stand the sellouts, bro. And Shaun just had a post here, and I thought that was a pretty cool post. I'm going to like that. And he actually liked one of my posts. He hasn't liked one of my posts for a long time. It was just an American flag. But I'll take it. I'll take it, Shaun. I'll take it, buddy. And it's like, these guys, when I'm not talking about some of these issues and disagreeing with them, at any given time, Keith Verboy, Joe Lonsdale, certainly Molly O'Shea. I'm not bringing her into this, and she has really, really nothing to do with this, other than we've gone back and forth, and she likes some of my posts that I know of. And Shaun Maguire will like my posts, but some of them, particularly Shaun, haven't liked some of my posts for a minute, and that's fine. I mean, I'm a smaller account, but it's like, I don't know. I'm speculating, but I mean, I have to say what I believe is right. And we all do. And that's the point of free speech, is to have that conversation and to mix it up. And through that, we get, and I got to try to get the dude's name right. He had a really good thing on Joe Rogan. And he went into this thing, you know what I mean? Ahmad Masad. I hope I pronounced that right. I'm really, really sorry if I didn't. And he talked about how he grew up in Haifa, and my wife's Aramaic, and grew up in Nazareth and stuff like that. Half our family over there is roughly a little bit less than half is Jewish from Tel Aviv, and half of them are Aramaic from Nazareth and stuff like that. He talked about Haifa, and he talked about in 1948 and grew up in Lebanon and all this. And he has a very different view of things, and he had his strong comments on Joe Rogan and stuff like that. And he liked one of my posts and stuff or replies or something. And so, a lot of people can have a lot of different views, but this is the point. Silicon Valley, certainly New York City, America, the world is very diverse now. We all have to talk to each other, and we all have to get along. You have to be able to persuade people. I'm getting a little bit cut down in the weeds here, and I want to keep moving very, very fast, but I want to set that table very quickly. Now, Shaun had a response. I'm just going to play and you have other things. I haven't even read these, but you've got the New York Times. You've got other people that are out there, speaking on this. Business Insider. Now, but there's some people who've come up and here's New York. Yeah, New York Times has something right here. Mamdani's support of debate moved to Silicon Valley. Partner Sequoia Capital giant drew criticism for calling mayoral candidate Islamist, and they go over this, and I like that picture there. That's a cool picture, and he's changed his profile picture. He's got a pretty cool profile picture now. And they go into this thing, and too long didn't read Maguire prominent referred to right here. I don't know. And then there's so much different things on this, and it's almost like the digging gets deeper, if you will, rhetorically, in my opinion. And I haven't read all these, nor do I, am I going to read all of these and stuff like that. Let's get out of here. Let's pull out of that. But now you've also have some people that are supporting Shaun, and I haven't read this one either, but I just pulled this one up. And so you have read the letter supporting Shaun Maguire here. Open letter circulating support of Sequoia partner. Okay. Is Business Insider. Open letter circulating support of Sequoia partner Shaun Maguire. VC's coming on Friday. Okay, blah, blah. I appreciate people supporting me. When asked about the letter itself, over 355 signatures. So what does this all mean? What this all means is cancel culture is still here. Silicon Valley in San Francisco is still, I would say, predominantly liberal. I don't think it's a left-right thing either. We talked about that. And we're still not where we need to be on so much of this stuff. But also, I think that whether it's Bill Ackman or Maguire or some of these people, they are making big, huge mistakes in terms of politically, and you're wasting time if you care about this New York City race, in my opinion. And yes, I'm a political expert, and I've been very successful in campaigns, in my opinion, on shoestring budgets. You can decry populism. The thing is, here's the deal. The thing is about Trump is Trump understands where the voters are, buddy. People say, "Oh, Trump's silly. He's a rube, and he's unsophisticated. He understands where the voters are. You have to understand where the voters are. You have to know how things will rate, to use a broadcast terminology. And guess who understands where the voters are? Zohran Mamdani. You know, in this sky is falling thing, I don't almost buy into that either. I don't know. Listen, I have no idea. But to me, it wouldn't surprise me if he does get elected, if the dude turns out to be a version of AOC meets Bill de Blasio. AOC says all kinds of out there things, in my opinion. Does she believe him? Will she enact him? To me, a lot of it's, I don't want to say it's an act, but it's almost like, cosplaying socialism or something like that. I don't know how to say that right. Do you understand what I'm saying, Paul?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? This is social media stuff. This is stuff for clicks and views. And I'm not impugning anyone's, but it's like, I'm so tired of the whole sky is falling on everything. The sky is not falling on everything. The sky can't be falling on everything every single day. Now, do I want this dude to win? No. But this isn't the way to deal with it. And I'll probably show an email that I sent to Bill Ackman, a DM, some very, very super high level. And I have not dived into the analysis and political stuff and the race and stuff, so I can't say with any great authority. But some of the stuff is so basic. It's like, you guys are just missing. And how do we know that they're missing? Because Shaun Maguire, in his own words, and this is on the Gaza thing or stuff, they're losing the PR war. You look at this blowback, Shaun, what you're doing's not working, brother. You got to mix it up. You got to change the play. If my West Coast offense isn't working, I'm not throwing the slant next play. You got to hand it off to the tailback or something like that. Like, you got to change the play, bro. And it's frustrating because we need the tech bros. We need the VC bros. We need the tech bros. We need all this type of stuff. And it's not like I'm trying to rub your face in or anything like that, or, I know everything. I certainly don't, but been telling you for a minute, bro, you got cut with the woke right stuff, this and that, whatever. Now, are there some extreme voices there on all sides at all times? But when you have a roster of top podcasters with millions of followers and millions of views, and they're saying, including Joe Rogan on down, and they're saying different things, they're saying kind of similar things, you can't write them all off, bro. And so that's just not a way to win. All right, so let's get into. So I've got some notes written here because we all know I'll talk. Paul, I want to cede the stage to you for a little bit to see if there's anything I covered that I made a mistake that you want to say or you want to elaborate on, and go from there.
No, look, I just want to say that, look, I know you, just from you talking to me about it, have interacted with Shaun quite a bit over a period of time. You guys get along pretty well. Yeah, you don't agree on everything.
Just on X. I don't have a cell phone number. He's not my buddy. He's never met him in person. No. Just on X. Very mildly, and for some, let me put it this way: for an account of my level, which is very low level, I maybe punch above my weight class with some of these dudes, and maybe I get some level of respect and some level of response. I have sent him an email. He has responded, or DM. He has responded. He has liked some of my things. That's pretty much about it. You know what I mean? That and $5, $10 maybe buys me a cup of coffee. But yeah, I mean, I will say this, many of these dudes definitely know who I am. And there has been an exchange of ideas. I'll go that far. Go ahead, Paul. Sorry.
Yeah. So what I just meant to say, sorry about my cough there, is you are, you pay attention to Shaun, listen to him. I mean, obviously you've seen at least some of your things or a few of your things. And so, as you said, the thing about free speech and which is, opposite of cancel culture is there will be disagreements and people should be able to talk and say what they want. Of course, you try to keep it as respectful and kind of, as specific as you can make it. But, as you said, leading off of some of your remarks, you don't agree with Shaun on some of the stuff, or maybe you don't have the same level of interest in certain topics that he does, but it doesn't matter. You still respect him. You still respect his freedom of speech and his ability to say things.
100%.
And of course, everybody respects that we shouldn't have cancel culture. So I think that's kind of my overall takeaway of all of this.
Yeah, exactly. And so I don't know if I should show my little let's see here. Maybe I'll show I don't know. Maybe it's better maybe I should show my little notes here and then maybe go over and let's see. Should I do that? Is that smart? Can I do that? I don't know if I can do that. Probably can, but oh yeah, hold on. Let's see. Can I do that? Yeah. And listen, I don't know. I'm not, I don't know. This is all 100% right, whatever like that. But at least just follow along. At least my thought. Before I do that, actually, hold on. Let me go back here. I apologize. I'm jumping ahead. Let me have Shaun speak for himself. I'll go to some of their comments, stuff like that. Shaun's got a video. Let him speak for himself. And then Delian has some comments. Shaun has some comments. Lonsdale, whatever. And then I'll get to my notes and we'll try to speed run through this. Okay. Because he's the story, and let's go to a primary source, which is him. Okay, this is Shaun's video that he put out. All right, and I will try to keep monitor of my ex because they may have responded to me and stuff like that. Let me play this, and I'll do that at the same time. Okay.
What's up, world? This tweet went extremely viral, and not in a good way. I've got a large fraction of the internet calling me a racist now. I guess cancel culture is alive and well.
Not good.
I felt the need to make a video explaining why I posted this. I believe that Zohran Mamdani is a wolf in sheep's clothing. I don't think he is who the world thinks he is. I don't think he is only a socialist. I believe he is also an Islamist. We have to be.
So let me stop that right there. We'll play a little bit more here in a second. It's a 28-minute video. We're definitely not going to play all of it. But look, I want to respect Shaun. Shaun's super smart dude, Intel background, everything like that. He's probably looked into this. He seems to know a lot about Mamdani's dad. I don't know anything really about hardly either one of them. But the wolf in sheep's clothing, bro, the dude just seems like a kid like AOC. AOC was a bartender before she was a congressperson. It's no diss on AOC, but sometimes you just know what to do. You're able to cut through social media, you catch fire, and you win. I take this dude. I mean, that's not going to come out the right way if I say it that way. Obviously, it's important. Obviously, this is a big job and stuff like that. But I think that it's more of this is just someone who growth hacked his way to an electoral win, as opposed to some nefarious grand plan, in my opinion, in my estimation. Paul, agree or disagree?
I don't really know enough about him.
I don't either.
There was a report that came out today that, he, I guess, sometime in his background had talked, some more of the kind of woke type of stuff. So I have no idea the extent to which he may believe that or doesn't. So I really can't say.
No. And let me say, listen, they showed some picture of him apparently flipping off a Columbus statue. I'm sure he said all kinds of wacky things. AOC says wacky things. The squad says wacky things, in my opinion. Elizabeth Warren has said wacky things, in my opinion. Some people on the right have said wacky things, in my opinion. You know what I mean? Some people may have think I've said some wacky things, you know what I mean? So I have no idea. I have no doubt that he said some wacky things, but the idea that like it's this super, I don't, let me, Kamala Harris can say some things that I disagree with. It might be a little bit more out there policy wise. That I don't know that I buy into, the super James Bond plot and affairs. Just you know what I mean? I think Kamala Harris is basically. I've said it before. I think that I got to be careful what I say, but I mean, I think in some ways she kind of just failed up. I think I think I would have a fine time hanging out with her. She seems like personally pretty fun. I mean, she seems like more of like a sorority girl or something like that. And I think she was in a sorority. So, you know what I mean? Like and nothing against sorority girls. I mean, I'm probably get myself in trouble here, but it's like, so my sisters were in sorority. So at least one of them was. And so, brother was in a big fraternity and whatever. And I don't care. It's nothing about that, but it's like, but Kamala Harris is not some, super spy or so. I don't know. So this idea that wolves in sheep clothing, when you start talking like that, again, I may have made, apologize. I'm not trying to make it. I'm moving very fast. Love everyone, respect everyone, everything like that. No generalizations, blah, blah, blah. But so you start talking about wolf in sheep's clothing and stuff. Like, I don't know, dude. Like everything's the most, you just start losing me there. But I could be super naive. And maybe I need to be, schooled up on some of this. So, let's keep going.
Be very careful with the definition of an Islamist. I will get there in a second. But Islamists are not all Muslims. It is a tiny fraction of Muslims. To any Muslim that is not an Islamist, and to any Indian that took offense with this tweet, I am very, very sorry. I'm really not trying. I know that things are difficult. I am not trying to stoke hatred.
Yeah, so that's a great statement right there. That's good. Should apologize and stuff like that. And he was misconstrued and he clarified, and that's great. So we applaud that. That's good. I mean, like everyone's got to be cool with everybody, dude, and learn and listen. And it's that old saying, you have one mouth and two ears. And it's not always easy for me because to figure that stuff out. But I mean, you gotta give Shaun credit for having some guts and stepping up and making that video and being able to go through that and trying to clarify stuff. Now, where I disagree with on sometimes is, and I'm not saying Shaun, let's put him aside for a second. Well, I didn't mean this, but I meant this. But I mean, you have some of these debate me bro types that, I was always right. I was never wrong. And I'm 100% right. Sometimes you're wrong, bro. Sometimes the best thing to do is, you know what? I don't know. I messed up. I was up all night. I didn't mean, I know that's not what I made a mistake. I'm sorry about that. And again, the problem is when you start getting into the labels, particularly religion and stuff like that, instead of talking about flip the religions and see how that would go. You know what I mean? Any kind of religion, whatever you can, there's all kinds of different religions out there. It could be Christianity, it could be Buddhism, whatever. Talk about his policies. Talk about him wanting socialized grocery stores. Talk about freezing rent. Talk about that, bro. Talk about how that's going to hurt New Yorkers, hurt housing, hurt jobs, hurt growth, hurt the tax base. Just talk about that. You could have focused on that. You guys are getting mired in the mud right here. And this could just fuel his campaign. You're just making huge political mistakes. Just because you know some things, rocket ships, whatever it is, investing, doesn't mean you know this. I'm a super genius. I know nothing effectively. Actually, I know a little bit, but definitely, relatively nothing about painting, nor would I pretend to. Man, all right. So let's we'll play just a teeny bit more of this, and I'm going to go to some other comments. I'm going to go to my stuff, and we're going to speed run this. Anything you want to say at this point, Paul?
Yeah, just and Shaun was trying to say this right there. Islamist is a very specific definition. That's not the same as Islamic, and so that's, I think, what he was trying to point out.
Yeah, and I think and I may be wrong. You probably know more about this than I do. I think what he's speaking to is, one second, I just got a little thing in my. I think what he's trying to say.
Just to say, like
ahead.
if, the definition, I'm looking at it right here. The definition of Islamist. Again, this is just the definition of it. Advocate or supporter of Islamic fundamentalism and person who advocates increasing the influence of Islamic law and politics in society. So Islamist is not the same as somebody who is Islamic. That's what he was trying to say right there in that portion of the video that you played. Just to be fair to him.
And what I would say is, and I have no idea about these definitions. I never even thought about this definition before, really, that, in my recent memory anyway, is what you should have said, Shaun, is someone advocating for Sharia law in the U.S. And does Mamdani advocate for that? I don't know. I don't think so.
I don't know.
I don't know. I have no idea. I have no idea. If he does, talk about that. If he doesn't, shut the blank up on that. Because people were saying John F. Kennedy is a Catholic. He can't be. People said the same thing about, of different religions. I mean, and this is what I'm talking. Like, it's absurd. People said that about the Supreme Court. Amy Coney Barrett, like, this is absurd stuff, bro. It's below you. It's below you. It is. And you made a mistake. And we all make mistakes. Doesn't mean you should be canceled for it. Doesn't mean you should be fired for it, everything like that. I mean, Sequoia can make their decision, but and I'm sick of the mob mentality and stuff like that. But you gotta take the L, bro. Just take the L and move on.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Paul.
Say one thing is
sorry. I'm sorry. Just want to say, because I got to get this point out. The point being is not against anything specifically, Islam, Muslim, Jewish, Christianity, anything. America has a separation of church and state. America is not a theocracy. And I have taken Speaker Johnson to the woodshed on that rhetorically, and Ted Cruz on that. The Bible tells me this, and the Bible says it. Bro, as a U.S. Senator and as a Speaker of the House, I don't want to hear about that. I'm a Christian. I'm a Catholic. I go to church. I was an altar boy, all that type of stuff. I love everyone. That's not appropriate as a leader of everyone. Anarchists, atheists, not anarchists, excuse me, atheists, Muslim people, Hindu people, Jewish people, Christian, all the rest, bro. And you certainly, and so that's where when you go after people's identity and their religion, that's going to be problematic. I'm sorry, Paul. I just want to make sure we get that. So it's the anti-theocracy, and I haven't heard that from Mamdani. Now I haven't really checked up on him, but that's if that is there, focus on that and exclusively that. I think. I hope I made that point right. Go ahead, Paul. I'm sorry about that, but I just want to clarify that.
No, it's fine. Look, we've seen other people who use specific words, and you might understand the definition of a word, but that doesn't mean everybody else does.
Exactly.
So sometimes you just got to be a little bit careful about the word choice that you have, even if you're absolutely correct in what you're saying. And I think that seems to be what he is talking about there, and maybe what happened here.
Yeah, and there may be right. You know what I mean? And so it's like, right.
And let me just to clarify my own thing. I'm not saying that Mamdani has those views. I have no idea.
I have no idea. Yeah, I haven't seen that.
Right, but
go ahead.
But just to say, right. But to be fair, I haven't really looked into him that much.
Same.
Maybe Shaun has more.
Same.
But I will say, to be fair to Shaun, I think it sounds like that's what happened here. Is a specific word may have been misunderstood, but when you're speaking and those hot button words, be careful. That's all I would say.
100%, and that's it. And so,
as you said, why don't you say it like this instead of that? Yeah.
And this is what I'm talking about. And these bro, I know some of these people like, oh, this guy thinks he knows everything. I'm just thinking, he's got a small account, or he's nobody. He's not broke. He didn't build anything serious. It's bro, I'm a political expert. I've consulted for campaigns. I've done a lot. I've run U.S. Senate campaigns. I'm not saying I'm like Karl Rove, but I'm not nobody, bro. You know what I'm saying? I've gotten paid to advise U.S. Senate campaigns, coast to coast. So, political science degree and law degree from UC Berkeley. I don't want to go to my resume. It's not about me, but check it out. And so it's, and you just look at the reason. Go ahead.
I'm sorry. I don't mean to interrupt you, but this kind of goes to exactly what you just said about all of this. This was written by the New York Post editorial board a week ago. So before all this other stuff, here's the quote of their editorial. Quote, "Don't go down the Islamist rabbit hole. Socialism is what makes Mamdani toxic."
That's it.
That's it right there.
That's it, bro. Come on, bro. This is so insane. You guys have an easy layup there in New York. And I sent a DM to Bill Ackman. This is going longer than I thought it was going to go, because it's probably going to go to an hour and a half. Just knowing how I am, this is 41 minutes now. Just the things I need to go through. As I sent something, Bill Ackman's talking about $100 million, bro. Are you crazy? Do whatever you want to do. First of all, I'm not involved in any campaigns. I'm not, advising. I'm not giving a campaign, whatever.
Sure.
This is my personal opinion as a political commentator on you. But I'm thinking, holy smokes! Let me just say this real quick. You guys are so ready just to proverbially light the money on fire. And I offered, I'll show you because I'm not going to show you what Bill sent to me. I'm just going to show what I sent to Bill. I offered to get involved for free. Okay, for free, dude. This is so easy. Politically and strategically to deal with. Now, I'm not saying because of the voter base now that it's going to be easy to win against Mamdani. Democrats win in New York City. He just won so this is no easy lift in that respect. But the strategy, you dudes are ready to just light money on fire, bro. Again, I'll stay with my pledge to get involved for strategically outside and whatever, do everything right and I'll abide by all the rules, regulations, everything like that for free. But holy smokes, Bill. I could use $500,000, $200,000, $100,000, whatever like that. And I'll do this thing up right, bro. Or Shaun or whoever, quit falling on your face and making us all look bad, bro. Come on, man. You guys are just making massive mistakes. And it's frustrating because, but I'm a positive person. Look at the larger aspect here. We're winning. The Trump thing, the Trump last 7 months has been incredible with Trump and stuff like that. You're not, and this is where I get Elon Musk, you're not going to get everything. You're not going to change and erase the debt and deficit in 7 months. It's not going to happen, brother. It can't happen. That's how these things are designed. It's designed to move slowly. The government's like the Titanic, bro. You don't turn it around on a dime. It doesn't work like that. It doesn't work like that. Grow up. I love you, Elon. Elon, I love you, bro. You're amazing. Are you kidding me? You're Tony Stark. But you have your blind spots just like I got my blind spots, bro. I wish I had someone do for me what I'm doing for you, Shaun Maguire. To stand up and say, hey, let's calibrate this. Let's keep you going, stuff like that. I didn't have anybody. Silicon Valley turned their back on me, bro. They did a New York Times did an article on me, did an article on my little brother Paul. I started getting all kinds of weird calls, doxings, weird, fake videos, all kinds of stuff. And it went dark, bro. It was game over. It was done. It was over. So whatever, dude. That's my career. Again, I ain't gonna cry about it. I'm not, whatever, dude. It is what it is, bro. Because at the end of the day, you can't take it with you. We're all gonna die, hopefully go to heaven. And you stand up for what you believe in, you stand up for the right things. Did you do the right things when it counted? And that's what I'm trying to do right here. Stand up for Shaun Maguire's free speech and for all of our free speech. Now, let's go to Shaun Maguire's other comments. Let's go to Lonsdale. Ackman said some stuff, and I'll go to them. I'll speed run through my little notes, and we'll have Paul talk about different stuff. And there's so much to talk about. You know, you're never going to get to all of it. But you made a huge mistake here. Oh, I'll also talk about the thing I sent to Ackman on the thing. Let's see here. So let's go to let's go back to Shaun's page. There's so much stuff here. It's like and it's to show you, like, I just can't even, like, and I'm not endorsing everything that we're gonna see here, whatever like that. Okay, so that's it. Okay, so this is okay. So we got this. People have lost the plot. Okay, it's just, and then we just, like, I just don't even know. And it's like, it's crazy. And then what do you, okay, and then Tucker, and then they're talking about Tucker, bro. Here's the thing, like, you're going to Tucker, like, what's wrong with talking to people, bro? This idea that we can't talk to Putin, we should hear from everybody, especially if we're going to potentially go to war with them or whatever, or there's a war going on or anything. Hopefully we don't go, but it's like, we should talk to have you not learned more information is good? Now you can say, hey, I don't agree with this, or hey, I'm great, or I don't, or whatever. But I mean, that's what I'm trying to say. You gotta listen, you know, free speech is free speech, bro. And more news is more information. Okay, so we did different things here. Okay, that's cool. Okay, yeah, here's the thing. Okay, imagine, okay, so this is from Mamdani, apparently in 2020. Take it down, and that's a Columbus picture. Okay, that's no bueno, bro. That's no bueno. But I mean, I'm not excusing the dude, but I think so much of this is performative and yeah, right. Yeah, right. I mean, oppressed oppressor, cultural Marxism. We've been critical theory. We've been talking about all that stuff for a long. I was at law school at Berkeley. I had, basically critical race theory in my property class, bro. I haven't talked a lot about that stuff. It's like, this is why I spoke out against Obama, and because I saw the policies. I was there. I saw it. I was ahead of the game, bro. This is the problem with being a super genius. I've said this before, is, as a pioneers get the arrows in the back and none of the praise. Because, being ahead of the game is not always a great thing. And sometimes it is great, and sometimes it's not. Okay. And then China. So a lot of people are saying this, right? A lot of people have been talking about that. That's a whole nother separate issue about the, and that stuff. But this is, sometimes things are, it's just the whole conspiracy stuff. Sometimes things are part of a larger thing, and sometimes things are just what they are, dude. I think this is AOC. I may be wrong. Now, here's the thing. Now, here he talks about Mamdani's father. So we're gonna get into this sound right here. And I think he's making a big mistake here politically as well as and logically and fairness wise as well. Here we go.
This is a video with Mahmoud Mamdani, Zohran Mamdani's father. In it, he's basically talking about using violence as a tactic to destroy Western governments, including America. He's had a fascination with this for many decades. It's a must-watch video.
I think there's also a second lesson we can draw from.
You know why? I don't care what his dad said. I don't care what his dad said, bro. I mean, this is a crazy. I mean, it's like, listen. Unless you can show me that this dude is in lockstep with his dad and the mentorship, this and that, whatever, I don't care what his dad says. Dad's a professor at Columbia or something like that, whatever. Guess what? My mom literally just sent me something from Mother Jones. Okay, that's my mom's sources. Okay, my mom literally just sent me something from Mother Jones. 6:59 p.m. Regina Villarreal from iCloud. Okay, there we go. My mom, I mean, that's my mom, dude. My mom, and Paul, you'll back me up. She's as liberal as heck. My dad was kind of in the center or something like that. I mean, you can't, there's no collective guilt or whatever. I don't know. I don't know if I'm going to say the wrong word there. I mean, it's like, it doesn't matter what his dad said. Paul, you agree or disagree?
I agree with that. Yeah, I think that's, and like you said, unless we know for a fact that he has the same views as his dad, then right, I don't think it's necessarily relevant.
Don't care what his dad said. Oh, sorry. You know what I'm saying? I mean, I have total disagreements with my brothers and sisters, uncles. In fact, Paul and I are one of the only conservatives in the family. And I pretty much drug Paul over to the conservative side after years of trying. And just said, listen to Limbaugh, listen to these things, and you make your own decision. You know, he wasn't drinking the Kool-Aid or anything like that. It was just make your own, just listen. And so I mean, would you not say that our mom is very liberal?
Oh yeah, no question.
Yeah. So who cares what my mom said about anything? How does that have to do with what I'm saying? And vice versa, what I say has no impact on my wife, or anybody else. And so when I see a VC that's super smart say something like that, someone just sent me an email. Hold on, let me make sure this is off camera on X. Hold on, I'm going. Give me a second here. No, I think this is some like spam type of thing. Yeah, okay, forget it. Okay. I didn't know. I just want to make sure it wasn't from one of the big wigs here. You know, that's a bad argument, bro. That's a terrible argument. And you're doubling down on the wrong move here, Shaun. Don't do that, bro. That's not smart, in my opinion. All right, let's keep going. More about his dad. I don't care about his dad. Okay, they talk about Ivy League schools and how the schools are messed up. Yeah, I've been saying for a long time the universities are left-wing stuff. And they've got a problem, dude. Okay, Mamdani and this and that more. And you can see, you know, it's all about, now he's in it. I get it. I did a lot of steps. Man, that dude's getting in shape. 29,000 steps a day. Holy smokes. I do 10 or 12 and I'm like, oh, I can get in shape. Yeah, okay, here we go. Freedom of speech is not worth anything if we don't use it. 100% agree. 100% agree. 1,000% agree. Love that. I'm going to like that right now. Sorry about that. Yes. Agreed. Absolutely. Good. Okay. And then we go, and then it's more here. And then this is how we get priest nuance. Okay, cool. That's fine. All right. That's good. And I don't know. There's all kinds of stuff. I don't know. There's some different things here. Netanyahu, Peace Pride. Okay. Yeah, it's a joke for now. Partner Sequoia for now. Hey, you gotta like that. At least the guy can like make fun of himself. That's cool. That used to be his profile picture. I like the new profile picture. All right, enough of that. So that's cool. And then okay. So then we have more stuff here, and then Tucker Carlson. Okay. Now look, okay. Chris Rufo was saying like AOC, Mamdani, and I think that's it, dude. I think there's a lot of parallels there. I'm not saying it's exactly the same. I think there's a lot of parallels there. Okay, and then there's different things and different groups. Okay, okay, so there's so much stuff going on here. Lonsdale, and then so Lonsdale's coming in. So now Lonsdale, Joe, look. I like Joe a lot. Like, I think that I like them all. I like Maguire. I like Ackman. I like Lonsdale. They're all a little different. I think that Bill is the best writer and obviously most financially successful. And Bill, I think, will put himself out there and help people that really can't do anything for him. I think he shows interest in a lot of like sports and different things like that, and can pivot to different subjects. And Bill will, like I say, like a deal maker, like, okay, this doesn't work. How about this? How about this? We'll give you option A, B, C, and stuff like that. And I appreciate that. And Joe, I think, is very patriotic, very pro-American, sees different sides, leans into the military thing. I mean, obviously Palantir, and I don't know if he's an investor, Andrew, has put his money where his mouth is in terms of the cultural stuff, in terms of, University of Texas and University of Austin and stuff like that. And I think Joe gives enough space to agree to disagree. It knows that, like, okay, we don't always, and sometimes you won't like my stuff, but sometimes, but even when, like, maybe like all of a sudden, like, now Keith Boy's not liking my stuff, and now, Shaun Maguire, and listen, these guys have, they don't need to, but you go from like, every other post they like, and now all of a sudden they're not liking. Who knows? And who knows with the X algorithm? I don't want to look. I don't really read no conspiracies. Don't want to read too much into it. But Joe is the one where, and again, I'm putting Molly O'Shea in a totally different category, where on some of these subjects, when no one else likes my post, we'll still like the post or still like the comment. And I respect that about Joe. It's not about me. It's about being able to still listen to people that you may disagree with on a particular issue. And I like that Joe goes out there and has his own, the American something. I'll figure it out. I'll try to cite it. Joe has his own podcast. We'll go on other podcasts, and it's kind of a little bit more fearless in that realm, in that zone, in terms of getting out there. Shaun, I think, he's a partner in a great law firm. He's been to venture capital firm, been to 100 different countries, has done the intel work, whatever. And I think what I do like about Shaun is Shaun will say, hey, this is where I'm coming from. This is my background, as I have. This is my wife. This is, and we'll put those cards on the table. But I think that he's just mentally and rhetorically out. Well, I don't want to say that mentally. I think that he has a level of focus and makes mistakes that the others don't. And it's been a minute since Shaun's like one of my posts or replies to him, and finally he did again. And I think, like, what my own personal speculation, it wouldn't be surprising me if Shaun's still learning like we all are. Paul, would you agree or disagree with those comments before I go further?
Well, that he, I don't understand.
No, just all of the character, the various characterizations of these public figures and stuff like that.
Yeah, I think so overall. Yeah.
Now, but you see this right here from Lonsdale. This is, by their own admission. Let me put this another way. Forget that. Let me start again. Let me revise and extend that. Lonsdale, in his own words. These radicals have no place in the USA. The West wins or they win. So that's the mentality. Okay, that's a statement. Let me revise and extend that. I have no idea what Joe Lonsdale's mentality is. That's a statement. And all I can do is evaluate that statement, assuming that Joe Lonsdale wrote that and that's coming from him and stuff like that. And I feel like I'm not going to give me a second. So I want to be as precise and fair as possible. I'm not talking about anyone in particular here, but it wouldn't surprise me if some people may have said, hey, look at the tragedy and the horrific events of 10/7. Look at what happened to Germany. Look at what's happening in the UK right now with free speech, stuff like that. Look at what's happening in Canada, with different things under Trudeau and stuff. Look at what's happening on these college campuses. Look at what's happening in Harvard. Look at what happened in with Columbia. Look at what's happening in the New York City race. And they might think mayoral race. And they might think, hey, this is kind of a scary situation. This is, we support the values of America, whatever like that. And so there may be, it's easy to get caught in the moment. It's easy to get this us versus them mentality. And they talk about, that kind of stuff. And maybe be a little bit more pessimistic or something like that. But I choose to be an optimist. And And you got to look at it like, it's like when we went to Israel and we had our wedding over there. People from all different faiths showed up. And they were all neighbors and everybody knows each other. And it was great. It was fabulous meeting with everyone. And I have, like most of us, we have worked with and been friends with and know people and have contacts of all different, like just people are people, bro. And so I think that what I would say is, I think that there is something that is important about saying, hey, America stands for these values. Like if I join this company, this is our company culture or whatever. Ben and Jerry stands for this. Apple stands for this. Whatever, different companies stand for different things. America stands primarily for the, some combination of the Constitution, Declaration of Independence, and maybe the Statue of Liberty or something like that. You know what I mean? That's the thing. And so I think that if you want, we are the land of immigrants. So immigration is a fabulous thing. And all of us, whether you came over from the ice ages and the land bridge, stuff like that, or you came over, a month ago, were immigrants, or our ancestors were immigrants at some point, somehow in America. And so the point of it is that if America, the only thing constant in life is change, and we all have the right to redefine and reiterate, and stuff like that. But there also is something to be said. It's like people moving state to state. If things are going bad in California, New York, and I move to Texas or Florida, why would you import that ideology here? You'd say, okay, I want to go to Texas and Florida because I believe in whatever they're doing right now. And I think that's the same thing. So, I mean, obviously you're going to, and things are going to change and grow and evolve. And, there's not as much old Florida anymore, and it's changed and evolved and grown, but there's still something there. So I think there's something to be said for saying, hey, okay, this is, and I'm not saying we should go, well, I'm not saying we shouldn't, but, when I grew up, we would do the Pledge of Allegiance in class and stuff like that. And learning civics and having some patriotism and having some pride in America and having, shared values is important in America. And part of that shared values is freedom of speech, but also freedom of religion. So it's both, and freedom of assembly. All three are in the First Amendment, players. So you can't be like, oh, we're all for freedom of speech, but not for freedom of assembly. We're all for freedom of speech, but we're not for freedom of religion. Right or wrong, Paul?
Yeah, definitely. Those things are definitely all related.
That's it, bro. Do unto others as they do unto you, bro. And then that's it. Okay, so let's keep going. All right. So then here and then, okay. And we'll come back to that. Maybe. I don't know. That's a whole, there's only so many things I can open up at one time. Okay. And again, this is it. You can see what his feed's like. This is Shaun's feed. Good picture, Shaun. Got to give you props on that. Good picture. And he's funny. I'm just glad there are American flags in the background. I like that. Good job, Shaun. Okay. I've lost Wikipedia. So he said something about Wikipedia, how Wikipedia says, bro, Wikipedia, oh yeah, been captured in the past. They were surgical with their edits. Only are you kidding me, bro? Wikipedia still doesn't acknowledge that I was one of the original hosts of GameSpot TV. And I'm not saying that's the biggest thing, but they have a long, go look about X-Play. Go look at how long that entry is. Can't find my name anywhere. And I have all kinds of receipts on this. This is what I'm trying to talk about. You tech bros are late to the game. You do not know what's going on politically. You'll find out. You'll figure it out. You're working through it. But that right there tells me you don't know what you're talking about in this space, bro. Just like I don't know what I'm talking about with string theory or rockets and stuff like that. And I've said this to you before. All right, let's keep going. And talking about this and it's just like, okay, talking about this and okay, here we go. Shaun Maguire. Reminder, 12 hours ago, this is an info war, quote unquote. Bro, you're sounding like Alex Jones now. And you may be coming from me. How many people were on the Democrat side where a lot of these people came from were making all kinds of fun of Alex Jones before saying he's extreme? Wasn't that long ago that Alex Jones was canceled from Twitter? That's an Alex Jones type of word. Paul, right or wrong?
Yeah, although, I mean, I think, in a general sense, that's like, the psychological operations or propaganda battles, whatever.
No. Listen, and he used to do intel and stuff like that. I mean, I'm not trying to say that Sean and I'm not casting aspersions or saying Sean some kook. I'm not saying that. What I'm saying is, look at what they said, and I am not sitting here and excusing or taking up for, supporting or condoning or anything. I'm not saying anything one way or the other about Alex Jones. Let's just put that out there, okay? But what I'm saying is, look at how fast the Overton window or the accusations or the name calling can change. You understand what I'm saying? That something that was kooky before is now you're seeing this. I mean, and so it's. And I'm not here saying anything, conspiracy and stuff like that. It's like, but again, the solution is, and so I'm just noting that it's interesting that the same language is used. That's all. And everyone can make their own comments on, have their own judgments on that. But the point is that, like, dude, what's the solution? I'm against cancel culture, and I'm for free speech. The more people talk, the more we'll work it out. We'll figure it out, bro. And again, the punishment and the cure is the same thing. People are saying, "Hey, Sean, we disagree with you. Hey, you messed up. Hey, we don't." And then Sean has come back and he's iterated and he's talking about different things. He changed. Okay, so he goes back to the dad. I don't care about the dad, bro. Then under review. So I don't know. That's weird about the whole check mark. Who knows what's going on, right? And he's got this and that. So that's kind of weird. And then he's supposed to post this. Western civilization is approaching the event horizon. If we don't max thrust our boosters in the other direction, we're not going to make it. And I'm like, come on, bro. I mean, there's people that feel that way, but I don't get into the fear posting and stuff like that. It's like, so, but you could see, but here's the thing. It's like, and again, right now he's under a lot of scrutiny and stuff like that. But this is my criticism. This is a partner, Sequoia Capital. Bro, can we talk about, what about startups? What about cool tech? What about investing stuff? What about investing theory? What about AI? What about basketball games, video games, anything else, bro? I mean, that's my criticism. It's just like 24/7, 365, 60 and 60, bro. It's like, it's nonstop. And then the people talking about Grok, and there's some weird stuff that what's going on with Grok, and I don't know what's going on with Grok, and I don't know, bro. So he's got new file. That's cool. I hope I'm not a hater or a loser. Maybe I'm a loser. I try not to be a hater. No, Sean's cool. But I mean, it's like, and then into Kia, I don't know. And so, okay, you could see where it is. So anyway, he put something here. One unconstrained. He said, oh man, he's put something he like one of his. So there you go. Okay. So listen, but you know what? It's like, I put something in here. So I like this. And then he liked one of my things, and that's cool. And so, let me see. Hold on. I'm going to pull this off. So I just gotta vet this real quick to make sure I don't, yeah. So, okay, I'll put this up right here. So I give him props. He liked one of my replies, and that's cool. It's fine. I mean, it's not about liking my replies. It's about let's have a conversation. So Shaun Maguire liked one of my replies recently. The first one he's liked a long time now. I'll just put an American flag. So, okay, thank you, Sean. Appreciate that. Appreciate that. Appreciate you. All right. I'm gonna shift gears. I'm gonna show a couple things. Paul, anything you want to say at this point?
No, it's pretty good. You got it.
Okay. All right. Fair enough. Fair enough. So yeah. So let me unshare that. And now I'm going to quickly, I've covered most of this. I'm going to quickly speed run through my notes, and hopefully I didn't, and this is all rough shorthand, and I apologize if I make any mistakes. I don't mean, love everyone, peace, love, freedom, opportunity for everyone. To just make sure I didn't miss anything. Then I'll talk about what I said to Ackman and those dudes, and or my letter to Ackman, and we'll try to wind this thing up. There's a lot of different aspects here, but I don't think it's super duper complicated either. Oh yeah, there was oh shoot. Hold on. There was, Bill and Shaun were kind of supporting each other and stuff like that. Okay, yeah. I'll put this back up here really quick. Okay. I'm a giant Bill Ackman fan, Shaun Maguire an hour ago. I'm a Shaun Maguire fan. And I said, yeah, I'm a, yeah. And I do like this. If you don't accelerate when they try to cancel you, it has a chilling effect for all. That's how we lose America. Hit the gas. Yeah, that I agree with. This is why I'm doing this. This is why I'm doing this, is because we have to support each other for free speech and stuff like that. That's what it is. It's okay to disagree. This is one of the biggest. It's okay to disagree. Cancel culture is the enemy. That's the enemy. It's okay to disagree, even on important issues. Because guess what? You might change someone's mind. They might change your mind. Nobody knows everything, dude. Data changes, events change. I'm sure maybe 5 years ago, I'm speculating Bill Ackman was very pro Harvard. Maybe he's got a different view now. I don't know. He can speak for himself. You know what I'm saying? So, okay. Now, let me go to this. Let me go to my little notes here, and we'll blow through this very, very quickly. All right, here's my document that I just kind of just did up very fast. All right. And again, this is extremely rough. Not alleging facts, casting aspersions, etc. All right. So this is kind of where I'm coming from on this, right? Let's get this out of here. Boom. I think Shaun messed up. We talked about this. Should apologize, fully move on. I'm totally against cancel culture and was likely canceled. Really don't want to talk about this, but it's too important. I didn't want to talk about this. I didn't want to talk about this issue. I don't want to talk about this stuff every single day. I've said what I've said. I'm good with that. I want to talk about other stuff. I really just want to talk about business, stuff like that. But I mean, when things come up, and I'm not afraid to talk about it. That's what we're talking about. A lot of tech VC peeps, left peeps, have never really experienced seriously negative press. Shaun's getting it now. Got to work with and respect everyone. Address people's policies and ideologies, not religion, personal characteristics, etc. You said yourself, I believe he said later on in his, I will refer you to his video. Maybe I'm recollecting wrong, but I believe in his 28-minute video that he said they're losing a PR war. The tactics are not working. That's a message to you. That's the market speaking. The tactics are not working, bro. This idea that, on either side, on all kinds of different issues, if you're not 100% with us, you're wrong and we're going against you and we're going to call you whatever. Communist, woke, right? It does, fill in the blank. Grandstander, I don't know. I'm just putting, throwing things. I'm not talking about anyone specifically, blah, blah, blah. Many recently we're talking about the woke right. If cancel culture is bad, cancel culture is bad. Okay. Do you have any criticisms of the current policy in the Middle East or any suggestions of what could be done better? People want solutions. People, the back and forth, who's right and wrong. People just want solutions. I just want to see everyone being in peace and prosperity and being happy and more things like Dubai and be able to Abraham Accords and all this. I want my family to be safe in Israel and here and stuff like we have a right to free speech and protest. And you say it's okay to peacefully speak out against hostages, Hamas, and what's happening. These are capital letters, not really. And what's happening? Okay. Is it okay to peacefully speak out against the hostages, Hamas, and what's happened in Gaza? Is it okay to be pro-Israel and pro-Gaza, Lebanon, everyone else, or against USA intervention? Like, some of these things are nuanced, bro. And there's people that again, the Trump policy was nuanced. I totally support the Trump policy, but there are some people like if you weren't ready to just go 100% support or whatever, then people didn't like that. So I'm not opening up all these different things again. But I think that maybe some people weren't liking my posts or weren't maybe supportive or maybe had some criticism, but yet my policy, I mean, not that they say that anyone listened to me necessarily, but for whatever reason, Charlie Kirk, myself, Charlie Kirk, and I said this at the time, contemporaneously to Bill Ackman and others, and Bill was posting stuff like that. Here's option 1, here's option 2, and Trump and Bacha Unger, that became the policy, which became the right policy. And hopefully it seems like Trump is going to do, and what we talked about, which is that Netanyahu's over here to work on this total, this more complete solution of, peace in Gaza, ceasefire, maybe 2-state, or now that Netanyahu has the political capital internally to do stuff and getting Abraham Accords, 2.0 and doing different things. And people want to see this solved. People want to see it solved, bro. We don't want to be involved in this all the time. We don't want to think about this as like an info war or this battle, East-West, this and that. Like we want to see it solved. We want to be cool with everyone. We're all Americans, bro. Like we want to get past this stuff. You know what I'm saying? Like, I know it's been going on for a long time, but it's like, it's just, it's the same thing in the Ukraine war. It's got to stop, bro. Ukraine's not going to win. I'm not saying you're saying that. I mean, like in my opinion, from everything I've seen, I'm no military expert or foreign policy expert, but got to stop it. Let's get to peace. All right. Anyway, the market is telling you something. Politicians are bad at many things, in my opinion, but many are pretty decent. What many are pretty decent at is understanding what voters want and staying elected. Sort of longer conversation. In my opinion, meaning that they will go out where the votes are over time. See populism below. Mamdani strikes me as a different version of AOC. Maybe more bark than bite and gimmicky. No offense, Mamdani. But very effective, dude. The dude's gone viral. I'm not punking you out, bro. It's what works, bro. I mean, people could say whatever with AOC. She's one of the most famous, Congress people out there. I'm just some punk doing in South Florida doing a podcast, bro. I'm not a congressperson. She's a sitting congressperson. I'm not making fun of her. She's figured it out. So, respect to AOC. Totally disagree with their policies, but great marketing. Mamdani's doing the same thing, dude. Don't hate the player, bro. But don't, but AOC's not Karl Marx either. Doesn't mean you don't take her policy seriously and stuff like that. Anyway, AOC was able to very effectively market and speak to New York City's voters' concerns. That's the key point. That's what everyone's missing here. The dude's talking about New York City. He's not talking about overseas. And people in New York City the voters have said that they care about New York City. So who cares what Mamdani's dad thinks? We talked about that. Talked about my mom. Talked about dad. Okay, whatever. Tech bros are awesome, but they are political novices who think that they know more than they do. In my opinion, this is an example of that. That said, your experience is unique and amazing. I've talked about that. Populism is merely reflecting the will of the people. Now, as Joe Lonsdale said, and I totally agree, and I can't find the site. You don't want mob rule. You don't want direct democracy. I don't want people to be able to vote to take my house. You know what I'm saying? This isn't American Idol or stuff like that. So we get that. We understand that. So we have a constitutional republic and stuff. So I understand that. So, again, and I'm not trying to be a punk or political know-it-all, but my point is wasting time talking about Mamdani's dad or your OG post about it does not help you win New York City. That's a big point. A lot of people voting for Mamdani were young people, including many Jewish Democrats. I believe that's the case. I heard that from a news report. I could be wrong in that. But regardless, the Democrats voted for him. Now, I've seen different reports. Let me just take this out right now because I just don't, I don't know that to be the fact. I would revise and extend that. And but do the research. I know this. The Democrats voted for him. That much I know. The Democrats voted for him. So just find out what the mix of Democrat voters are. Now I've seen all kinds of different reports on that. That's why I had to take that out, because I've seen all kinds of different reports on that. I've seen this group and it's that group. It says, I don't know. So go do your own research. I have no idea. But all I know is the Democrats voted for him. Give people a candidate real solution for New York City voters. I am an expert on politics and effective campaign. I'll talk about that, so I'll go into that. Yeah, and I said dumping money and trashing Mamdani's dad is not going to win New York City mayoral. You need a new plan. You need a new plan. Agree or disagree, Paul?
Yeah, I mean, I think that's probably true at this point. Because Mamdani's doing well. I mean, apparently. So I just said something you said earlier about, like, people think that however easy or hard it is to defeat him. We said this before we came on air. Mayor Adams just had, new apparent, like, I think, some type of charges against him.
Oh,
so, that's right. Like, from, I don't know, like, supposed,
see if I can pull that up.
If I remember correctly, like corruption.
News moves fast.
Like several officers that were, like, in the thing, like, so in other words, that's pretty interesting timing. So maybe some people, who knows? Maybe that will make it a little easier for Mayor Adams' competitors.
Here we go. I see it right here. Hold on. And then we have, that's what I'm saying, dude. You got all kinds of stuff going on here. Let's pull this up. Well timed, Paul. Let me just finish this. We'll go right to that next. That's what I'm saying, dude. It's like, it's okay. So what's your plan for peace? I mean, that's what I want to know from all sides. What's the plan for peace? Because this is what the majority of that's what the majority of people want. Now, if you don't, listen, super complicated. No one's figured it out yet. So, long term. So, in my opinion, so I understand if you don't have a plan, but I mean, that's where I would focus on. We need solutions. I'm tired of the name calling and the finger pointing and who's right and who's wrong and you're this and I'm that and you're canceled and I'm canceled and this and like, what's the plan for peace, bro? What's the plan for peace, bro? And can we literally talk about anything else? A lot of people died in Texas recently, and it's not about whataboutism, but people are homeless here. But this is the thing. People, don't be surprised if voters in particular constituencies, whether it's America, New York City, Texas, vote for their issues, what affects them. You know what I'm saying? Like we whatever the issue is, we can't have these 0.1% issues, or we just went through this with the women's sports issues, stuff like that. We can't have these. And again, I don't want to get into all these different issues. I'm just talking just generally, the 0.1%, the 1%, the 5% issues can't dominate, these other issues that are majority issues. You know what I'm saying? So, or we got to walk and chew gum at the same time or whatever. You know what I'm saying? These are serious issues, obviously, but not everything is an existential crisis that will implode in 24 hours. Twitter does not have to, does seem like watching an episode of 24 sometimes. All said, I think a solution is near for the Middle East stuff. We hope, and we all live and learn. You'll be fine, and life moves on. You know what I mean? Like, I think it's going to be fine. And we'll see. So, where is that? How do okay, stop. Okay. So that's that. Now, to Paul's point, we just have breaking news. Look at this, Guardian. Eric Adams accused of corruption by four former high-ranking NYPD officers. That's crazy timing. I mean, dude, this New York City race is going to be roller coasters, bro. It's going to be roller coasters, Paul. You're right on this. Any comment on this?
Yeah, like I said, the timing is very interesting.
Timing's interesting, bro. Now, here's another one. Fox News, NYC, Cuomo Adams trade shots over who should drop out in race against Mamdani for New York City mayor. So, I don't know. I mean, it's just like, I think everyone should align behind the person who was won as mayor, Adams said on Monday. Meanwhile, Cuomo said, we do not see any path for victory for Mayor Adams. Mamdani, the 33-year-old Democratic Socialist Assemblyman. So he already was Assemblyman, and I kind of knew that before. From Queens, 2 weeks ago, top Cuomo by 12 points. I mean, it's getting interesting, bro. I mean, this is what I'm saying. Like, there's just all this little name calling and infighting, but we don't see a plan. Now, I put a plan out there to Bill. I mean, it's super duper high level. I mean, this is extremely general, whatever. Let me just vet this a little bit. Paul, I'll let you make some comments. I need to just double check what I wrote here just to make sure that it is airable. Anything that you want to say at this point, go ahead.
Well, I think there are, a number of people who believe that.
Bill Ackman wrote me back.
Oh, nice.
Bill, I will reveal this one just because it's short. I think I hope that's hold on, let me ask him 1 second. Hopefully he's watching. Go ahead, Paul.
Yeah, I think there are a number of people who believe that Cuomo kind of had his opportunity before and didn't look like he could get the job done. In fact, I think that's where Bill Ackman is coming from, among others. So, yeah, I think that there would be a number of people would be happy if several people dropped out, whether it's Cuomo or Adams and maybe also Curtis Silva. So, yeah, in fact, I believe Charlie Kirk has asked for Curtis Silva to drop out on the Republican side to try to help consolidate the contest against Mamdani. So there's a lot of action going on. As you said, there's going to be plenty more to come, I'm sure. Again, this little court case or whatever against the Adams is certainly interesting. And yeah, I mean, very eager to check it out and see how things develop as we move forward, Yeah, I mean,
but
as you said,
it is what I'm saying. I mean, I don't have to pat myself on the back. I talk to these dudes. Okay. I mean, or they know who I am sparingly here and there, whatever. I mean, and it's like, I love these guys. These are patriots. These are real Americans and stuff like that, whatever. Like, doesn't mean we all make mistakes. There's no one alive that's perfect, buddy. Generically, men, women, whatever. And we all have to work together and live and learn and stuff like that. And that's at least these dudes these people are engaged. Lonsdale, Ackman, Shaun Maguire, in trying. I believe that they all are trying to do what they believe is right. Would you agree or disagree, Paul?
Yeah, 100%. I think all these guys, everyone that I've seen plenty from Ackman, I've seen some from Shaun Maguire, I've seen some things from Joe Lonsdale. These guys are all intelligent people who definitely are engaged and want to see the best thing for America. I don't think there's any doubt about it.
Exactly. All right, I'm gonna move up here. Let me just vet this a little bit. Make sure. Okay. Here. And I may be wrong about Adams here, so I may be wrong about that. Hold on. Maybe it was what I said to. Hold on. Just gotta look this through here. Yeah. So this is public. Okay. So I'm probably not going to show that just because, one second. I wrote Bill and said, listen, I'll read part of what I wrote. I know you have huge connections, but I think I have a plan and this is a huge election. Happy to help in any way possible. And I don't need anything for myself. I'll help for free. Also don't need to be on camera. It's not about me, getting publicity or getting over or anything like that. I can be part of the quote unquote brain trust behind the scenes. Right. And, he's got my contact information and stuff. Okay. Now, I also asked if he wanted to be on this podcast and stuff like that. And I'll leave that alone. And then I said this to Lonsdale. And again, it's not like it's super, but I said this to Lonsdale. Yeah. About that race because they were talking about it and what they need to do. And I just think that there's some miss on the, and I think Bill said, publicly, like, hey, he's part of this WhatsApp group and the text chains and whatever. We can raise $100 million and stuff like that. And I said, okay, so this is Bill, right? So this is Bill. July. In summary, in light of the inability to add a new name to the ballot, low probability of success writing campaign, the only candidates with a credible chance to beat Mamdani are Cuomo and Adams. This is his longer thing here. I met yesterday with New York City Mayor Eric Adams. So I mean, they're very involved in this stuff, and Andrew Cuomo to discuss the upcoming election. I spent an hour with each of them. In short, my takeaway is that Adams can win the upcoming election, and that the Governor Cuomo should step aside to maximize Adams's probability of success. I say this while having a high regard for Andrew Cuomo and his contribution to New York State, but also abundantly clear in his body language, his subdued energy, and his proposals to beat Mamdani, that he is not up for the fight. I agree. I agree with Bill. I don't think Cuomo can win. I don't have a problem with Cuomo, and I feel bad about what he did, but I don't think Cuomo can win. Agree, Paul, you're closer to the mix. Agree or disagree on that?
Yeah, because he wasn't able to do it in the primary. Right. So I think it's why do you think he's going to do it now?
Right. In comparison, Mayor Adams ready to go to battle, guns blazing, enormous energy and clarity on what Mamdani and socialist communist means of production, anti-NYC policies. Now, see, what I like about Bill here is Bill's getting into policy that affects New York City. And what I love about Bill is whether it's Harvard or New York City, Bill's like, look, this is where I'm at. I'm an alumni. I'm New York City. I want the things to be, I want it to work out. I'm here and I want to make it good. So, and he puts his money where his mouth is. You gotta love these guys. You gotta love these guys. I love these guys. Eric's first term not been without flaws, but and look, he keeps going on now. I'll let you. Bill's a great writer, and like me, he's a long writer. He's a better writer than me. But it's like I may be more persuasive, but I'm biased and stuff like that. But Bill's a great writer. So committed to hiring best and brightest staff and blah, 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 and all this stuff, and jobs in the economy, NYC affordability. This is like mayor, quality of life. But this is good. It's like he's getting into stuff. He's authentic himself, smiles really. Okay, good. More authenticated. This is good. So that's what I'm saying. Bill is way more. Bill is sophisticated, and Bill understands, and Bill is a quick learner. Okay. And I love that. So, in my opinion, I'm not dissing anyone else. I'm just talking about Bill. Now, what I said to that, and then Lonsdale agreed with Bill. Mayor Adams is the best bet. Someone that means in New York City. So, someone with means in New York City has to hire Cuomo in, or he has to find his honor and step aside. Joe Lonsdale. Okay. Now, I said, yep. He needs to step aside and figure out his next play. See my comments and a bit more analysis to Bill Ackman. Too long, didn't read. A politically tuned, and maybe I said more to Bill Ackman. I don't know. Did I? Yeah, let me see. I've so many posts of these dudes. Too long, didn't read. A politically tuned Adam is the best bet to get crossover votes from multiple coalitions and win in the general, sort of a la Lisa Murkowski, kind of. Okay, so let me explain that. And here's what I mean by that. Adams did the Adams thing before. Mayor Adams won, did everything like that. Okay, great. But now, in order to win the general, I think he needs to get Republican votes. So I think like him and Trump have been saying some different things, like, hey, you were targeted, whatever, allegedly, and and stuff like that. And maybe I should pardon him, all that kind of stuff. So tune the policies to pull over independents and Republican votes too. So that's kind of like what Murkowski did. So Murkowski fended off, in my opinion, in Alaska, several times some Tea Party or MAGA candidates for the Senate race. In fact, losing the GOP primary for the Senate, but then running as an independent, but pulling Democratic votes. So going for that centrist type of campaign and being able to win. And she's still in the U.S. Senate right now. Is that a correct retelling there, Paul?
Yeah. And then they also have ranked choice voting. I know that New York did that in the primary. I don't know if they have in the general, but yeah, I think that's a fairly assessment.
Right. And ranked choice voting. Exactly. And so, okay. Once the whole electorate can weigh in and peeps are focused, because there was a very small percentage of people that voted in this, things can change, but we need a branding and policy update to be most effective. So New York City can go one of two ways. Are you going to go down the Chicago model and double down on left stuff, in my opinion? Or are you going to say, hey, listen, like the Bloomberg model or the Giuliani model? Hey, you know what? We're going to make New York City better. We're going to do something a little bit different here. We're going to be pro business. We're going to be, we're going to help solutions that people want. I don't know all the issues in New York City, but I can get up to speed, quick. And you have to do the viral videos and the posting and social media. And Robert, I'm losing the last name. He posted like, hey, people were talking about how Adams was kind of making some missteps on social media, and the clock said one thing, and the readout said a little different thing, and whatever, And so you need to speak to regular people where they're at. TikTok, Instagram, YouTube, events, this and that, whatever. Come up with the policies. Donald Trump to ride down the escalator. Here's the policies that people want. And I can guarantee you it's not about 7,000 miles away, in my opinion. You can have a policy on that too. That's great. But, people want to know, how do I get to work? How do I deal with safety in here? Are we, let's have law and order again. I want to be able to get a job. I want to be able to pay my bills. I want to be able to buy food. I want to be able to afford rent, just basic stuff. It's not rocket science. And get engaged. But it doesn't take $100 million. I mean, it's whatever, but this isn't, throwing $100 million in Mamdani's a communist and is a socialist, and his dad said this, is not going to win it. I promise you that. I don't promise anything. I don't guarantee it. But I mean, I don't think that's a high probability campaign. Doing a rebranding and a positive, super positive, and a policy update of Eric Adams or whomever to be a centrist candidate and showing voters how that works for them in New York City. It's about them. Positive. That's the way. And, and if I can be of assistance, happy to do so for free. It's important thing. Again, complying with all rules, regulations, laws, everything like that. And I dare say that a lot of people with big money that have been doing this, you've been talking about stuff, maybe haven't had success in this realm. And, a lot of the political consultants, the old, we've seen their success. You know what I'm saying? So something new has to be tried. This is no different than a tech thing, whatever like that. It's time to pivot. It's time for plan B. It's time to reiterate here, fail fast and reinvent. So, happy to help with whatever I can. And I haven't studied it, I can study and get up to speed on this. Toot sweet, ultra quick. And then you can say yes, no, whatever you want to do. All right. Okay, things can change. We need to read policy. Okay, I'm a political media expert. I've been very effective. In my receipts, history, private. Okay, this needs to be top down and bottom up and cross party effort and rebrand. Okay, what do I mean by that? Top down is, hey, here's our policies. Here's the thing. Here's the contract with America. Here's the Trump page with the promises made, promises kept, that kind of stuff. Here's our policy. Bottom up. You think UGC, right? Hey, I'm Eric Adams did this for me. He was great. Hey, Eric Adams helped me out with this. Hey, this is what I believe in this. This is the policies I want. Hey, the Bronx supports Adams. Hey, Manhattan supports Adams. Hey, New York City supports Adams. Hey, Staten Island supports Adams. Hey, this is what we want to do here. This is what we're going to do there. Get the user-generated content, both bottom down, top up, right? Just like building a financial model. Test it, reiterate it. Rebrand, digital lift, complete policy storytelling. What is this going to do for people? Get on the issues. Why does this work? How is stable? Is rent control going to work with you? Go look at Berkeley. Go look at a lot of places. Socialized medicine. Go check that out. Showing New York City. Real New York City peeps and voters, and get Trump involved. Get Trump involved. Get Trump involved. I'll say it again. Get Trump involved. If you can get all the Republican voters to support whatever candidate and half the Democrat voters ish, you win. And it's probably not even that kind of math, right? I don't know the exact voting situation in New York City. It's a lot more super summary. And then, okay. So I said that. Now let me see if I said anything else differently over here. Let me go to that or anything more. Yeah. Okay. So I said a little, let me go to that. And then we'll wind this thing down. What I said to Bill on his post. Okay. I already said about that. Yeah, we don't expect him to become a GOP mayor, but more centrist and solutions-based like Mike Bloomberg would be help. Have Bloomberg endorse him. Have maybe Giuliani. That's what I'm saying. Like you got to figure out what the winning policies are going to be. That's doable. What can you win? Again, Elon Musk can't get it all. It's just not a wish. You're not going to get it all in one bill in one election. What can you win with right now, today, or, months from now? What can you win with to beat Mamdani? Get those issues together, get a coalition together and go with it, and then do the right campaign and the right stuff like that. And there you go. So I think that's the deal. So in summary, that's where we're at. This longer than that one. It was so much ground to cover. And thank you, Bill, for emailing me. Appreciate that. And thank you, Shaun, for liking that, and Lonsdale and the rest of them. Everything's going to be fine. We're going to get there. A lot of work to do. Always a lot of work to do. I've talked a lot. Paul, any last comments you have?
Yeah, look, like I said, I think coming back to what the whole thing, look, be careful what you say. Work on the strategy, but we're totally against cancel culture and completely for free speech. And I think there are a lot of people that want to win in the New York City race against Mamdani. So, like I said, let's just brainstorm and work on it if that's what the goal is.
Exactly. That's it. So, Shaun's going to do his thing. I try, we're against cancel culture. We're for free speech, love, respect. Everybody, we're for freedom, peace, opportunity, equality for everyone. Stop talking about identity politics. Stop talking about the groups. We all make mistakes. We're all imperfect. You live and learn, live and let live. Golden rule. These things have been around forever because they work, right? And we're a very diverse place. The world's a very diverse place, and that's fine. And that's all good. So just, treat other people the way you want to be treated, and it's all going to work out, and we'll go from there. So I think, I I've said it. I think I've said it a lot. So hopefully I've done a little good here. I can see that there's some big people that are noticing me or listening and stuff like that. And that's good. But you know, we're all, not to be too kumbaya, but we really are, you know, we love everybody. And I think that, to some degree, Paul and I definitely have a perspective because, you know, half Hispanic and half Anglo, and, you know, being conservative and going to Berkeley and in Silicon Valley, and family on both sides of the Alamo and stuff like that. And so it's like, you know, we you know, we're all just people, bro. We're all just Americans, and it's going to be okay. Find solutions, be positive, get engaged, stuff like that. I wish I could do that on my business life as successful as these guys are. So, I mean, I'm no disrespect. These guys are titans. These guys are legends. I'm having billionaires that are emailing me. So, I mean, geez, you know, on the business end, they've definitely figured that one out. So, but on the political end, maybe I know some stuff. So hopefully we've contributed to some solutions and added a little bit more light than heat. I will look forward to your commentary out there. Again, if I've made any mistakes whatsoever, I do apologize. We love everyone. We love, you know, all religions, all faiths, all everything, and everybody. We're all human beings, and we're going to figure this out together. And then again, the recipe for bad speech, freedom of speech is for speech you don't like, and the recipe for bad speech is more speech. And again, to reiterate, I think that the cure and the punishment are the same thing here. Shaun's been taken to the woodshed, so to speak, in the media and online, and then he's had some supporters, and they have some different things and talking it out. And I think in some ways, this has also brought some attention to this political race and people, and we're going to figure it out. And it's a work in progress, just like we all are. So that's what I have to say on that. Have you said everything you want to say, Paul?
Yeah, I think so.
Okay. So we look forward to your respectful comments. Thank you, Shaun, for liking my post. Thank you, Bill Ackman, for the email reply. And thank you to everyone out there for listening and listening. And hopefully, this is the last video I'll have to do on the subject for quite some time. But news, you know, subject to news and everything else like that. And I was happy to take some, whatever degree of personal risk to stand up for Shaun and stand up for these principles, because it's important that we do it. And as the saying goes, a friend in need is a friend indeed, or something like that. That's not exactly it, but just what my grandma used to say, but that you get the gist of it. With that, for Paul, I am John D. Villarreal. Thank you so much. God bless you and your family, and have a great night.